All right, Eric, this is probably one of my favorite topics. It's about influencers. Sometimes they come in a second, sometimes it's a lifetime.
Mhm.
My first major influencer, I speak all the time, was my grandfather. Him, my grandmother, my mom, my aunt. They came from Kiev years ago, Canada. And when I was about five, he used to take me to the park. And long story short, he one day I said, Zeta, how do you know all these people? And he said, well, one day I smiled at this guy, and he came over and smiled at me, and we started talking,
Mm.
and stuff happened. And another guy came over and smiled at us because we were happy and doing stuff, and we were sharing knowledge and all. And I said, well, it's so simple. You just got to smile at people. And um, as you get older, you realize it can be really that brilliantly simple to do something like that to influence someone. So that was mine, and we all have a lot. But could you share maybe two or three people that have really been influential in your life?
Yeah, absolutely. And the irony is whenever someone asks me about that, one of the things that I always say is that I meet uh, people who influence me daily, right? And it's
Yeah.
because of that. And it's because, I think for me, one of my greatest gifts is the ability to just say hi to people and to smile and, be kind and understand that like kindness is free and it doesn't cost you a damn thing. And it opens up your world so completely. So
It
for me,
does.
absolutely. Like I meet people who influence me daily. Um, and to that end, I also hug people daily. Like I will constantly say, "Do you hug?" And people say, "Yeah," and they hug. Um, and which is lovely. And that sort of brings me to my father. Um, my father was a lovely, beautiful human being. Uh, he had a hard time. He had a hard time with himself, I think. Like he had a very, he was very low in his own self-esteem in many ways, but he loved so completely. And one of the things that I have always said is that he taught me how to hug. And it was because he didn't, cater to any of the BS of like what a man should be or, all of that kind of stuff.
Mm.
And while he didn't necessarily have the words when I was in pain for something to say, listen, when Tommy is messing with you, you need to say XYZ to him and that's going to work. Like he didn't have those words, but I would be in pain and he would just look at me and he would go, oh, shit. And he would just grab me and hold me. And I think that for him, he felt like it was I think that he felt like it was a failing that he didn't have the words, but I think that it was such a beauty for him in many ways to not have the words because what he taught me was when he enveloped me and he held me, there was a security and a love that I felt. And now I am totally great on the street talking to someone, having that moment and being like, oh, can you hug? Do you hug? And being able to, it's such a beautiful expression, right? And
Yeah.
you feel you can't lie in a hug. You just can't. So my dad
Well,
definitely,
you can lie and hug,
you
but
can. That's a different scenario typically though, Mark.
right.
That's not necessarily a platonic hug.
Maybe not.
But the last one, obviously, I mean, it does go back to Jane. I mean, it really does. I mean, I think she continues at 90 to um, to be the icon of hope for not just her generation, but our generation,
Yeah.
the generations after us. There are so many children now. Like I talk to people sometimes and they don't know who she is, and I get so frustrated. But then a friend will say, "Oh my God, my 6-year-old." Like Jane Goodall on her computer all the time, all the time, all the time. And, and
Yeah.
she's one of the most incredible human beings who has ever lived. So, and she continues to just spread hope wherever she goes.
Yeah. What a role model. Thanks for sharing
Yeah,
all that.
absolutely.